In life, you really want to make sure that when you win, it actually counts. And right here is a perfect example of winning and making it not count. So this is just a random tweet I saw. If you look at it here, kind of the initial tweet that I quote tweeted, um, this is someone talking about going from $1 million to $3 million to $9 million and that not being interesting. And obviously that's coming from a VC perspective, right? Where they're looking for absolute home runs, unicorn deals. But if you step back and look at it from the operator's perspective, if you have a business that does $9 million in revenue and you're not set for life, you made a huge error with how you structured your capital stack. Huge. And that's a lot of VCs, right? What is the stats? Like 9 of 10 VC deals fail, right? And of those that don't fail, a lot don't get paid out what they want to get paid out, the founders. If you have the skill set to where you can actually grow a business to 9 mil revenue, 10 mil revenue, whatever you want to call it, if you're in that 8-figure revenue range, you're set for life if you structure the capital stack right. So in those scenarios, you really shouldn't be taking VC capital, right? Because all it's doing is accelerating your growth, and you don't need to, right? It's at the expense of pretty much a wide majority of your equity, right? Whereas if you just bootstrap the business from the start, it would take a few more years, but you'd actually own the entire business. And if you have any real business that does $9 million in revenue, you are never working again. So if instead of taking 3 to 5 years to get there, it takes 7 to 10 years without the VC capital, who cares? You're still set for life, right? You don't want to play these games where you can win and still lose. And that's essentially what a lot of times people are doing in VC. You're winning, you created a great business, maybe it does 20 million revenue, but that's not enough for the returns that people want, and you were diluted too much when you took on capital, and now you don't even win, right? Maybe you come away with a tiny bit of money, it's not what you wanted, and you restart another business. Just makes zero sense. So unless you have something that's going to be absolutely huge, where it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar company, whatever you want to call it, maybe it's an Uber type thing where there's network effects and you really need to spend on the marketing, you should almost always be bootstrapping your business. It makes no sense not to. And if you look at it from even any other perspective, I'll give an example of my life. We do a lot of joint venture deals with other firms, and sometimes I'll do deals with other firms, and these firms have sold out portions of their GP capital stack. So basically their actual GP entity, they've sold out portions of that in order to grow quicker. And a lot of these firms, they'll be doing way more on the deal, they'll have way more responsibility, and the individuals there are making far less money than I am just because I bootstrapped it. And it took me a little longer, right? When I was bootstrapping, I had those years in the beginning where I wasn't making as much. I wasn't doing as big deals as I would have liked. But it cost me what, 2, 3 years. And now I have the rest of my career where every single deal I do now, I make far more money than anyone else because they took on other money, right? And it's, in this case, it's not VC money, it's really more private equity type money, really high net worth type money. But they sold out in order to grow quicker. And all you're really gaining back is 2 or 3 years, which in the grand scheme of your 30-year career is really nothing. So you're looking at all these deals now, and the people who are making the most money are the people who kept all the equity. You never want to give up equity. It's really that simple. If it takes a little bit longer to get where you want to go, that's okay, right? We're not talking about 20, 30-year horizons here. It's just going to take a few more years. Maybe it's 3 to 5 years more, maybe it's 2 to 3 years more, whatever it is. But it's not one of those where it's catastrophic. Right? You don't want to give up that equity, because once you do, you're probably not going to, one, get the returns you want, and two, you don't even own your company anymore, really. Even if you still have a majority share, once you have investors and people who have a say, they're always kind of there. And I've seen that personally on some of my deals. I've seen a lot with friends who kind of, I think, made the wrong decisions, and I think they kind of realized that later on that they did too. So I would always say, look, put yourself in a position where if you win big, right? And I would say, you run a business that does $9 million in revenue, you've won big. There is no reason for you to work ever again if you don't want to at that point, unless you sold out your capital stack, right? You gave up equity, and now you can't win big. So I would always be really careful before taking additional capital. You almost always want to bootstrap it. Even if it takes longer, it's going to be more painful. But 5 years down the road, 7 years down the road, you're going to be really, really happy you did that. If you're stuck in a W-2 job and want to replace your income with real estate, I run a one-on-one program where I'll personally show you how to find profitable deals and build real wealth. Matt was struggling to scale. Now he stabilized a $3.5 million deal that should net him over $1 million in profit. Sean joined when he was stuck at his job. In under 2 years, he acquired over $2 million in real estate and now has a clear path out of his W-2. Amin was able to quit his job of 11 years. Taylor completely changed the trajectory of his life. These are just a few examples. So if you do want results like this, click the link in the description to apply for the Acquisitions Bootcamp. Limited spots are available as we handle all appointments personally.